It's been over a week since 13-year-old Kei'Mani Latigue was found in a dilapidated home in East Toledo, and the details surrounding her death continue to shock thousands. The case has become a harrowing example of how multiple systems can fail a child, leaving us all wondering how something so horrific could happen in plain sight. What makes this story particularly chilling is the calculated behavior of those involved, like when Kei'Mani's father, Darnell Jones, asked his then-girlfriend to turn off the home security cameras. He claimed he didn't want anyone to suspect anything because he hadn't come home until 5 a.m. that morning. But here's the thing. When someone asks you to turn off surveillance cameras, doesn't that immediately raise red flags? His girlfriend certainly thought so. She later revealed she pretended to comply while actually leaving the cameras running, a decision that would prove crucial in the investigation. The condition in which Kei'Mani was found defies comprehension. According to the Lucas County Coroner's Office, the autopsy revealed multiple incised wounds to the neck. Reports indicate she had been nearly decapitated, with her hands severed from her body. Her father, who we later discovered wasn't even her biological father, was the last person to see her alive before she was reported missing on March 18th. The police accused him of removing Kei'Mani from her home without her guardian's consent, providing inconsistent statements about his activities and whereabouts during the time of her disappearance. When Columbus police finally approached him, he allegedly attempted to attack an officer with a firearm hidden in his sweatshirt. Thankfully, they were able to subdue him before he could harm anyone else. What's perhaps most disturbing is that it was Darnell's own girlfriend who helped crack the case wide open. On Friday, March 21st, she received a call from Darnell asking her to disable the home security system. Something about his request made her suspicious, so she left the cameras on despite his instructions. Later, while she was in the bedroom, a relative observed Darnell moving items from his SUV into the house, hiding them under the basement stairs. This prompted her to contact detectives immediately. When they arrived with a search warrant, they discovered crucial evidence: a protective mat typically used in SUVs, now rolled up and concealing something sinister, along with Darnell's work boots caked with mud, despite him not having worked in weeks. Once he realized these items were gone, he vanished, never to be seen by his girlfriend again. As we dig deeper into this tragedy, questions mount about how Darnell Jones, a man with an extensive criminal history, was allowed near this vulnerable child. Kei'Mani's mother wasn't raising her. Instead, she moved between her grandmother and godmother's homes since she was 9 months old. Yet Darnell, who wasn't even her biological father, remained a constant presence in her life according to family members. When I began examining Darnell's past convictions, my jaw dropped at the sheer volume and severity of his offenses. It became painfully clear that this man should never have been permitted anywhere near a child. Let me walk you through his troubling history, piece by piece, to help you understand just how alarming this situation truly is. Darnell's first conviction came in 2011 when, at 19 years old, he was cited for disorderly conduct while intoxicated and resisting arrest. But that was just the beginning. He was charged with arson, a 4th-degree felony, for attempting to set a building on fire using a handheld lighter to ignite flammable liquid poured on a business door. For this, he received 4 years of community control, including 3 months in a correctional treatment facility and mandatory mental health treatment. The conviction also permanently barred him from possessing firearms or ammunition. Yet just 4 years later, in 2015, Darnell found himself facing charges of felon in possession of a firearm, a 3rd-degree felony. During an argument, he allegedly pulled out a gun and shot at a man's foot before fleeing the scene. This incident earned him 2 years of community control, 6 months in a correctional treatment facility, 3 months of work release, electronic monitoring, and a directive to find employment. In 2017, another violent episode emerged. A man confronted Darnell a few blocks away at 18th and Monroe Streets, accusing him of robbing his nephew. During their argument, Darnell, who was working on his car, struck the man in the face with the vehicle's alternator, causing severe facial injuries that required medical attention. He eventually pleaded guilty and, in January 2018, was sentenced to 180 days in the Northwest Ohio Correctional Center. However, his jail time was suspended, and he was placed on 2 years probation instead. Just 6 months later, he was arrested again for disorderly conduct while intoxicated, found standing outside his home on Star Avenue yelling and cursing at people. While awaiting his hearing for this offense, police were called to a home on the 300 block of East Broadway Street, where a homeowner reported someone trying to break in by prying open a front window. Guess who they found attempting the break-in? Darnell Jones. In July 2019, a former neighbor witnessed Darnell hurl 2 televisions off the balcony of his 2nd-story apartment one evening. Concerned, she called the police. As officers were en route to the apartment in the 400 block of 4th Street, a second call came in. An anonymous caller reported seeing a man holding a female over the balcony by her throat, threatening to throw her off. Witnesses gathered on their porches, watched in horror as the scene unfolded right before their eyes. Police arrived within minutes of the initial 911 call and arrested Darnell. Although the woman, his wife Antonia Sullivan, declined to pursue charges, authorities had enough evidence and witness statements to proceed without her cooperation. Despite being found guilty and sentenced to 180 days in the Northwest Ohio Correctional Center, Darnell spent only 11 days in jail after his initial arrest. The judge put him on active probation for a year, ordering him to complete treatment as directed by Unison Health. After showing proof of completing a program, the remaining 69 days of his sentence were suspended. His last encounter with law enforcement before Kei'Mani's disappearance occurred in August 2022, when he was arrested for being a felon in possession of a firearm, discharging a firearm, possession of paraphernalia, and disorderly conduct while intoxicated. All serious offenses that should have raised significant alarm bells about his proximity to children. Given this extensive criminal record, one can't help but wonder, did Kei'Mani's family know about Darnell's publicly documented history? Did they ever suspect that Kei'Mani wasn't safe with him and simply do nothing about it? What's even more disturbing is that Kei'Mani, at just 13 years old, had already attended 6 different schools, and there were reports that teachers tried to sound the alarm after noticing visible marks on her arms. Yet every time someone complained, she was simply enrolled in a different school. One of her classmates from her last school particularly noted that Kei'Mani would come to class with visible injuries on her arms. A teacher from her former school expressed that she tried her best to remove Kei'Mani from her environment but failed. Child Services' role in this tragedy is coming under intense scrutiny. According to Lucas County Children's Services, LCCS, they received 3 reports regarding Kei'Mani's care dating back to December 8, 2023, and 2 additional reports on March 21, 2024. While she was in the care of her grandmother Dorothy Latigue. Investigations were conducted, and LCCS claims they found no evidence necessitating Kei'Mani's removal from the home. They met with Kei'Mani alone during each investigation, and provided Dorothy with instructions for appropriate discipline, while referring the family to resources, including Ohio Rise, a care program for youth with complex behavioral health needs. However, during interviews, Dorothy made concerning statements about being advised on where to hit Kei'Mani, suggesting that perhaps the guidance given wasn't as protective as it should have been. The grandmother's involvement raises further suspicion, especially considering the multiple reports made while Kei'Mani was under her care. Then there's the mother, who appears completely unaware of what was happening to her daughter. Every adult who was supposed to protect Kei'Mani failed her miserably. What's worse is that they might be withholding crucial details about exactly what they knew. There's a chance that this case isn't as straightforward as it initially appears. While the entire situation is deeply unsettling, it forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about our societal systems designed to protect children. As we process this tragedy, let's reflect on the warning signs that were missed or ignored. Teachers noticed injuries on Kei'Mani's arms, yet felt powerless to intervene effectively. Neighbors witnessed disturbing behavior from Darnell but perhaps didn't realize the gravity of what they were seeing. Child Services conducted investigations but concluded that removal from the home wasn't necessary. At every turn, opportunities to save Kei'Mani slipped through the cracks. This case serves as a stark reminder that protecting vulnerable children requires vigilance from everyone: family members, educators, neighbors, and social service agencies. It's not enough to simply notice warning signs. Action must follow observation. We need better communication between these entities, ensuring that concerns don't get lost in bureaucratic procedures. Moreover, we must hold accountable those who fail in their duty to protect children, whether through negligence or deliberate harm. The public's reaction to this case has been one of outrage and heartbreak. People are questioning how such a tragedy could occur despite numerous red flags. Social media platforms are flooded with calls for justice, demanding answers about why Kei'Mani's suffering went unchecked for so long. Community members are organizing vigils and memorials, honoring her memory while advocating for systemic changes to prevent similar cases in the future. Local journalists covering the story emphasize its impact on the community, noting how it has shaken people's faith in the systems meant to safeguard children. Listening to those directly involved adds another layer of poignancy to this tragedy. Educators share their frustration about feeling powerless despite recognizing signs of abuse. It's hard, one teacher confessed, especially in education. Your day doesn't end at 3:30. You take these things home with you. They weigh on you. As a parent herself, she tried her best to ensure Kei'Mani was removed from her harmful environment, ultimately failing in her mission. Her words resonate deeply, highlighting the emotional toll such cases take on professionals dedicated to children's welfare. Meanwhile, legal proceedings continue against Darnell Jones, though many feel justice will never fully compensate for the loss of young Kei'Mani. Her family, friends, and community grapple with grief while seeking answers and accountability. The case has sparked broader discussions about child protection policies, prompting local officials to review protocols and consider Some advocate for increased funding and resources for child services, arguing that current measures aren't sufficient to handle complex cases like Kei'Mani's. Others call for stricter penalties against individuals who repeatedly endanger children, emphasizing the need for zero tolerance toward child abuse. As we contemplate this heartbreaking story, let's remember Kei'Mani not just as a victim, but as a vibrant 13-year-old whose life was tragically cut short. She deserved safety, love, and opportunities to thrive, basic rights denied to her due to failures at multiple levels. Her legacy should inspire us to demand better protections for all children, ensuring that no other family experiences such devastating loss. We must acknowledge the courage of those who spoke up, the girlfriend who kept the cameras rolling, the teachers who tried to intervene, the neighbors who called police, and the journalist who brought this story to light. Their actions demonstrate that individual efforts matter, even when institutional responses fall short. By amplifying their voices and supporting their advocacy, we contribute to creating a safer world for children everywhere. Reflecting on this case also compels us to examine our own roles in protecting vulnerable members of society. Are we paying attention to the children around us? Do we recognize signs of distress or abuse? Are we willing to report suspicions, even if it feels uncomfortable or intrusive? These questions challenge us to be more engaged, compassionate citizens committed to safeguarding the well-being of others. Kei'Mani's story is a painful reminder that evil exists, often hidden behind closed doors or masked by familiar faces. Yet it also underscores the resilience of communities determined to seek justice and enact change. Through collective action, persistent advocacy, and unwavering commitment to children's rights, we can honor Kei'Mani's memory by working toward a future where no child suffers as she did. Ultimately, this case demands more than just outrage. It requires meaningful action. We need policy reforms that prioritize child safety, enhanced training for educators and social workers, and greater public awareness about recognizing and reporting abuse. Most importantly, we need a cultural shift that prioritizes children's welfare above all else, holding accountable those who fail in their duty to protect them. Only then can we begin to heal from tragedies like Kei'Mani's and prevent them from recurring. As we conclude this difficult narrative, let's keep Kei'Mani's spirit alive by channeling our sorrow into positive change. Share her stories, support organizations working to protect children, and engage in conversations about improving our societal safeguards. Together we can create a world where every child grows up safe, loved, and empowered to reach their full potential. Because isn't that what true justice looks like? Not vengeance but transformation, transforming pain into purpose, tragedy into triumph, and loss into lasting legacy. Let us remember Kei'Mani not solely as a symbol of failure but as a catalyst for hope. Her life, though tragically brief, has ignited a movement toward greater awareness, stronger protections, and deeper compassion for vulnerable children everywhere. In honoring her memory, we commit ourselves to building a brighter future where stories like hers become unthinkable relics of the past.